Hey guys, welcome back to Vinceville Customs. So today I'm making a review video on this new Winsor Newton Brush Cleaner. It's also kind of a bitch video. Kind of like bitching about this stuff. It kind of sucks what happened. I've made videos in the past of this brush cleaner and restorer from Winsor Newton and how amazing it was. I could actually have like a, what is it, like say this brush was like caked up and it was like hard as a rock. You could put this brush in there with like this restore and like swish it around, and in like 15 minutes or even like maybe 5 minutes, depending on how, you know, caked up it is, you could bring this brush back to life. If you ever have an airbrush, let me grab an airbrush real quick without bending anything. So, like, say your airbrush inside there was all caked up, and, you know, all these pieces in here are kind of caked up, your nozzle and everything. This restorer was great because this is the last of my restorer. You could put those pieces in there, and you can kind of let it sit for like 10 minutes. You go in there with like some tools, and you can kind of clean up all those parts and get the paint. And if you ever made mistakes like me, I've done this in the past. I'm not perfect. Sometimes I'll paint, and if I'm like kind of doing so much stuff at one time, or say I airbrush, but then I bring my item over here to the desk and I'm doing like, you know, details and stuff, I forget to clean this cup out. And I've done it where I've left it overnight and the inside here would get caked up with the acrylic paints or enamels. But this brush cleaner restorer, you could put it in there with some tools and you could bring your brush back to life and get it all cleaned out. So this stuff was amazing. I had 2 bottles. I bought them probably back in 2020 during the lockdowns because I figured at the time I better order a bunch of stuff while I can because, you know, all the stuff that was going on. But we're coming up to around like 2025. I had about this much left in this last bottle. I said, okay, it was time to order more. So I went online, and what happened was I found out that they changed the label, and I'm sitting there like, oh, okay, they just changed the label and bottle. You know, I thought it was just like shrinkflation. I figured, oh, they're going to shrink the bottle down a little bit but charge the same amount of money. Because everybody online was calling this brush cleaner and restorer, but this is not a restorer. This is a new formula. It says improved formula, but it's actually not. So what happened was I ordered a bottle. Did I order 2? No, I only ordered 1. So I ordered 1. I got it in the mail, and I looked, and when I opened it up out of the box, I saw it was all smudgy. See how it's all smudgy up here? And I was like, wait a second. This brush cleaner restorer never sudsed up. This was like a very liquefied formula that kind of just didn't really do that. So when I opened it up, I smelled it, and I could tell the smell was different. It's got more of a soapier smell. And I was like, wait a second. So I put this in my hand. I just kind of went like this, and I put it in my hand, and it's very, like, it smells like, let me see. It smells almost like an alcoholic, you know, like an alcohol slash soapy, not detergent, almost maybe something like you would smell like in a hospital cleaning solution, you know, like almost like that, kind of close, but it's not very like harsh like this. As I guess you say this was a little bit more harsh and stuff, and I was like, wait a second, this is not the same stuff because it doesn't say restore. So anyway, I grabbed the cup. I did an experiment. I had a brush. Like I said, I don't have any brushes right now that are caked up because I threw away a lot of the stuff because I figured, okay, well, I'm not going to be able to restore them. So I figured, let me just throw them away. They were old anyway. So I let, I put this new cleaner in a cup, and I let this sit there for like 5 seconds. And then when I pulled it out, I'm trying to take it, and no paint's coming loose. Where this old restore stuff, you could put your brush in there, and literally in 3 seconds, it's like acetone. It'll just start taking off the acrylics or enamels. So I was like, okay, this stuff might be a little bit safer, I guess you could say. So I let the brush sit in the cup for about an hour, 20 minutes, whatever, and I kept pulling it out, and nothing. It was never restoring. It never took off any kind of paint whatsoever. I was like, wait a second. I was like, what the hell is going on? So after a while, I was like, all right, let me see if it has to sit overnight. You know, okay, so what I did is I put the brush in the cup overnight. I came back the next day, and literally when I picked out the caked up brush, it was still perfectly caked up, and no paint was coming off my fingers at all on it. So I said, whatever they did to this stuff, it's not the same. So I called up Winsor Newton, and I got a representative on the phone. I said, hey, you know, I bought the new brush cleaner, but it doesn't say restorer. It's not restoring anything I got. He goes, well, it's not a restore anymore. It's just a brush cleaner. he said that what happened was in 2020, the third party that was making this stuff couldn't get the chemicals anymore, so they had to stop making it. So what Winsor Newton did was they got the formula, or something of the formula, and they're still tweaking it now to the point to try to bring it back the way it was. Even though it says improved formula. But honestly, I think that's BS because by 2024, everybody that was that couldn't get chemicals or couldn't get stuff was able to get the stuff again, and everybody's paints came back and everything got flow, and kind of the world started going back to where it was. Yeah, things were more expensive, but so this right here now, this Winsor Newton Brush Cleaner is a waste of money. I maybe you guys out there that watch the videos are okay with spending the money on this, but to me, this is just soapy water. This is literally just like water with some Dawn mixed in there and maybe some alcohol. It's not worth the $14 or whatever I spent on this. I think it was almost the same price. Almost like $20, I think. It's not worth the money. Literally, you can make your own brush cleaner in the house with some Dawn, some glass cleaner with no ammonia. You know, like you can get this stuff that I use for cleaning my airbrushes, that the guys that I got from that one video. So you get Glass Plus with some ammonia free, and you could put this in water with some Dawn or something, and you could pretty much make the same thing. It's not worth the money. So, with that being said, this is kind of also a shout out in the video. If any of you guys have some experience or know any kind of cleaner or restorers out there, let me know in the comments. I've been trying to find something else close to this. So what I did is I did go on eBay as an experiment. I figured, let me try these two. So I found this US Art Supply. I know these are probably not maybe big name brand stuff, but I figured maybe, just maybe, what happened was Winsor Newton didn't want to spend the money anymore to have this company make this. So they trying to make their own stuff in-house. And I was thinking maybe the third-party company, whoever made this, moved on to this company because it says brush cleaner and restorer, you know. So I said, let me try. And honestly, this stuff doesn't work like this used to either. So sadly, this was kind of a bust. I think each bottle was like 14 bucks. So I was like, damn it. So the only good thing about these two bottles I've been messing with is while I'm airbrushing, when I'm kind of like done with the color, I'll put a couple drops of this airbrush cleaner or some of this brush restore into the airbrush, and I'll kind of like just kind of push out the color, and it kind of helps clean it a little bit. So I figured, okay, I won't waste these, but I'll kind of use them and get used to it a little bit now. But I'm kind of pissed that I can't get this stuff anymore. So I think the next step is, if none of you guys have any recommendations, or you guys don't know anything out there that is like a restorer like this stuff used to be, what I might have to do is maybe with this stuff, or maybe with water, I'll have to experiment with a little bit of acetone and maybe a little bit of, you know, some water or something, and maybe I could come back to get something where I can restore. Because you can get a cup of acetone, and you could put one of these brushes in there, and you could bring your brush back to life with no problem. But the only problem is acetone is so strong that the fumes alone will melt your paint on your brushes. Because this stuff right here, this brush cleaner, if you got it on your handles and you started like mushing it, that stuff would work like acetone and start melting like this brownish red color, and it would go onto your fingers. And then once it's dried, it would be hard as a rock again. But acetone, since it's so potent, the fumes go up there, and if you're trying to clean it, you'll probably be getting this all over your hand. So I'm kind of like out of a standstill here. So I think this stuff had acetone in it, or some form of acetone. I'm almost positive. Let's see. That's doesn't really say what's in it. It was probably like a secret formula or something. Really doesn't say, but I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at. So any recommendations, you guys let me know. Be very wary of buying this stuff now. This stuff is not a restorer. It's basically soap and water. So buy this at your own risk. If you're okay with buying a company's brush cleaner and you like it and you want to use it, that's fine. But for me, I feel that it's a waste of money when you can make your own. And as far as these two things, these aren't bad, but they won't restore your airbrushes or your paint brushes. These are kind of, you know what it is? I think this is like where I'm at right now, if this kind of makes sense. So this right here was like, this would bring back your airbrushes and your paintbrushes, no problem. This stuff right here is kind of in the middle of these two products, where these really don't bring your airbrushes back or your paintbrushes back, but when you're working in real time and you kind of want to clean up your brushes or your airbrush, these kind of are a little bit better than this. This is just soapy water. So this was awesome. These are kind of they kind of will do for now until I can find something. And this is just trash. This is just brush trash cleaner. It's just a waste of money. So that's kind of where I'm at with these products right now. It kind of sucks. So this is like all I have left of this brush cleaner restorer. So this is kind of like my little holy grail right now to clean up my nozzles and my airbrushes and stuff until I can find something else. So that's kind of my review. That's also kind of my bitch session, because I just, once again, every time I find something I love, they discontinue it or they change the formula. So I got to go back and start buying more stuff whenever I find something I love again, just to hold on for a couple years. But please, if you guys have any recommendations, let me know. I'm willing to try some other products, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. I got to try some more. I have some other stuff saved in my eBay channel and Amazon, but I can't buy up everything at once, so that's kind of where I'm at. So that's my little bitch session. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know some recommendations, and if I find some more stuff, I'll let you guys know. So thanks for watching, and we'll be back with some more videos.